Globalism involves trying to bring different groups together under one leader or set of ideas. Even though the word globalism is new and usually refers to countries working closely together today, there are biblical accounts that show us individuals and empires attempting to centralize control. One of the most notable examples of early globalism in the Bible is the story of the Tower of Babel, found in Genesis chapter 11, verses 1 to 9. This is perhaps the most famous instance of early globalization efforts, the attempt to build the Tower of Babel around the 21st century BC. This act was in direct disobedience to God's command to populate the earth as mentioned in Genesis chapter 9, verse 1. According to the narrative, humanity, speaking a single language, congregated in the land of Shinar, Babylonia, and decided to build a city and a tower with its top in the heavens to make a name for themselves and prevent their dispersal across the earth. In simple terms, mankind rebelled, deciding to centralize in one city and not be scattered over the earth as instructed by God. The construction of the Tower of Babel was led by King Nimrod, who was Noah's great-grandson. Nimrod's name, often interpreted to mean rebel, reflects his defiance in leading such an ambitious endeavor. This endeavor was undoubtedly an act of pride and rebellion against God, leading to divine intervention. God confused their language, causing them to no longer understand each other, and scattered them over the face of the earth, thus thwarting their efforts at unification and centralization. Nimrod the hunter is sometimes viewed as a type of Antichrist, a foreshadowing of the Antichrist, due to his defiance against God's authority. This rebellion, aimed at centralizing human power and possibly reaching heaven without divine approval, directly opposes God's command for humanity to spread out and populate the earth as seen in Genesis 9, verse 1. This defiance mirrors the Antichrist's opposition to God's authority as described in New Testament prophecies. Nimrod is often associated with the establishment of the first kingdom on earth, including several major cities in Mesopotamia, as seen in Genesis 10:10. His efforts to centralize power and control could be seen as precursors to the dominion the Antichrist is prophesied to hold over nations, consolidating political and religious power to challenge the authority of God. Though not explicitly stated in the Bible, traditional and extra-biblical interpretations suggest Nimrod may have been instrumental in introducing idolatry and false worship. These practices directly contravene the worship of the one true God, a characteristic action of the Antichrist, who, according to biblical prophecy, will exalt himself above all that is called God or is worshipped. In Christian eschatology, Nimrod's kingdom, particularly the Tower of Babel, symbolizes human pride, rebellion, and the attempt to achieve godlike status without God. This is why Nimrod is viewed by some Bible scholars as type of Antichrist. The Antichrist is similarly described as exalting himself and seeking worship, embodying human rebellion against God's sovereignty. There have been other attempts throughout biblical history for centralized power. All the empires presented in a dream to King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylonia represent other attempts to institute a one-world government. Could it be that we are finally on the precipice of the arrival of the Antichrist? Could it be that technology has advanced to a stage where the rule of the Antichrist is no longer just probable but a certainty? Could it be that with the formation of economic unions and political alliances, the world is slowly shifting and aligning itself for the kingdom of the Antichrist? Could it be that current global events are laying the groundwork and preparing the stage for the Antichrist's emergence? Could it be that we are living in the times described in the book of Revelation? Could it be that what we are witnessing is the beginning of sorrows, with nation rising against nation and kingdom against kingdom? Could it be that we are observing the unfolding of history, the turning of the pages, and the arrival of the man of sin? Could it be that the growing acceptance of surveillance technology under the guise of security and convenience is setting the stage for the all-seeing eye of the Antichrist's rule? Could it be that the widespread turmoil, natural disasters, pestilences, wars, and rumors of wars are the birth pains leading up to the end times? Could it be that the call for global unity in addressing these crises is actually a step towards the global rule of the Antichrist, foretold in Revelation? Could it be that the blurring lines between political, economic, and religious power are creating the perfect environment for the Antichrist's rise? Could it be that the increasing persecution of Christians and the marginalization of traditional moral values are fulfilling the prophecies of the last days? Could it be that we are witnessing the setup for the final battle between good and evil as foretold in the Scriptures? Could it be that these observations are not mere coincidences, but signs that we are indeed living in the end times as prophesied in Revelation chapter 13? In the heart of Revelation, amidst the unfolding visions given to John, we find ourselves standing at the precipice of understanding the vast and unparalleled reach of the Antichrist's dominion. The reach and power of the Antichrist will be unlike anything the world has seen. He will surpass the power and reach of all great empires that have risen and fallen. From Nimrod to Alexander the Great, his empire will be larger. From the Mongolian Empire founded by Genghis Khan in the early 13th century to the British Empire, which covered nearly a quarter of the world's land area. The reach and control of the Antichrist will surpass all these empires and their leaders. Additionally, the Roman Empire, which once dominated the Mediterranean and beyond, and the Ottoman Empire, which spanned 3 continents and ruled for over 6 centuries, will pale in comparison to the authority wielded by the Antichrist. Indeed, the Antichrist's dominion will eclipse the global reach and influence of every empire that populates the annals of history, casting a shadow over the entire world. Here are 2 verses in the 13th chapter of the book of Revelation that demonstrates the sheer scope and spread of the Antichrist power. Revelation 13:7. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. Revelation 13:16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Revelation 13 verse 7 and 13 verse 16 lay bare the reality of a world under the sway of this formidable ruler, known as the beast that emerges from the sea. This beast, as foretold, is granted power to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation. The gravity of this authority cannot be overstated. It heralds a time when the entire globe falls under a singular rule, a centralized control that knows no bounds, where the world will be controlled by one man energized by the very power of hell, where the world will be controlled by one man who is empowered by Satan, the fallen one. The breadth of this control is further emphasized in the chilling mandate of Revelation 13:16, where the beast through its prophet requires all, regardless of status, wealth, or freedom, to bear a mark on their right hand or forehead. This is not merely a mark of allegiance, but a tool of unparalleled centralized control. It is an eternal mark of allegiance, one the like of which the world has never seen, a mark like no other, a mark where those who take it are viewed as doomed souls, destined for the lake of fire. Through this mark, the beast, the Antichrist, dictates the very ability to engage in the most basic economic transactions. This mark will dictate whether you can buy or sell. The message is clear. Without this mark, one is not only ostracized from society, but also stripped of the means to survive within it. Consider the implications of such control. In a world already tilting towards centralization, where digital currencies and global surveillance hint at the arrival of this man of sin, the scenario presented in Revelation feels eerily plausible. Not just eerily plausible, but somewhat probable. The Antichrist's regime will eclipse anything humanity has witnessed, creating a world where every dissenting voice is silenced and every act of defiance is met with swift retribution. This global reach is not merely about geographical dominance, but a comprehensive infiltration into the very fabric of society. It transcends social, economic, and political barriers, touching every life, from the greatest to the least, from the rich to the poor, from the young to the old. The Antichrist's rule will permeate every tribe, language, people, and nation, leaving no corner of the earth untouched by his influence. Such is the depth of his reach that it compels a universal allegiance, enforced by the mark that dictates participation in society. The centralized control exerted through the mark is a profound demonstration of power. It signifies not just physical control over the bodies of mankind, but a deeper, more insidious grip on their spiritual destinies. Revelation 14 verses 9 to 10. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. The passage in Revelation chapter 14, verses 9 to 10 unequivocally indicates that those who accept this mark are openly defying God. In essence, anyone who bears the mark of the beast is condemned. By embracing the beast's symbol, they demonstrate their lack of faith. The third angel reveals the fate awaiting the beast's adherents. Each of them will face the entirety of God's wrath. God is portrayed as pouring out his judgment without restraint, filling the cup of his anger to its brim. The global reach and centralized control of the Antichrist serve as a somber warning, casting a chilling shadow over the world's future. They lay bare the profound depths to which evil will ascend in the last days, manifesting through a leader who brazenly seeks to usurp God's rightful place in the order of creation. This looming reality evokes a sense of urgency and solemn reflection, compelling humanity to confront the stark implications of such unchecked power. Our contemporary world stands as a testament to unprecedented connectivity, an intricate web of technology, commerce, and communication that binds nations and peoples together in ways unimaginable to previous generations. Yet, it is precisely within this interconnected landscape that the seeds of the Antichrist's reign find fertile ground to take root and flourish. The very fabric of our global society, with its intricate networks and interdependencies, provides the stage upon which the Antichrist will orchestrate his tyrannical rule. In this age of rapid information exchange and seamless connectivity, the potential for centralized control to extend its reach into every corner of the globe is unprecedented. In all this, allow me to remind you, God is in control. Despite the swirling chaos of the world, his sovereignty remains unchallenged and his divine plan unfurls with purpose and precision. Throughout history, we have witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the ebb and flow of nations, yet amidst it all, God's hand guides the course of humanity. From the days of ancient Babylon to the present, his providence reigns supreme, transcending the schemes of mortal men. Consider the story of the Tower of Babel, a vivid reminder of humanity's pride and defiance. Despite their attempts to centralize power and elevate themselves to the heavens, God intervened, scattering them and confounding their language. In this act, he demonstrated his supremacy over the designs of mankind, reminding us that his will shall prevail. Even now, as we ponder the signs of the end times and contemplate the rise of the Antichrist, let us not succumb to fear or despair. For though the forces of darkness may seek to ensnare and deceive, God's light shines brightest in the darkest of days. The global reach and centralized control of the Antichrist may cast a shadow over the world's future, but rest assured, God's sovereignty remains unshakable. His power surpasses that of any earthly ruler, and his purposes will ultimately prevail. God is your protector. As we navigate these uncertain times, let us fix our eyes on the author and finisher of our faith, trusting in his unfailing love and unwavering faithfulness. Though the storms may rage and the seas may roar, we stand firm on the rock of his promises, knowing that he who is in us is greater than he who is in the world. Take heart and be encouraged, for our God reigns supreme now and forevermore. Let us lift our voices in praise and thanksgiving, for he alone is worthy of all honor and glory. In his presence there is peace that surpasses all understanding and strength that sustains us through every trial and tribulation. So do not fear, dear friends, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Even in the darkest of nights, his light shines brightly, guiding you on the path of righteousness and truth. Trust in him with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding, for he is faithful and true to his promises.